How's everybody doing today? My name is Steven Rosenberg and this is Ginzburg. Welcome to Marketing Success in Under 10 Minutes. We're really excited because today we're going to be talking about entrepreneurship and all the different things that it takes and everything that's involved in being an entrepreneur. Jean, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Thank you very much, Steven. And as always, I'm very excited to do the show. And yeah, I'm really pumped because we're going to talk about entrepreneurship, and we talk about entrepreneurship quite a bit here on the show. It's one of our common themes, and I think all of our audiences, most of our audiences are entrepreneurs. But entrepreneurship is not all like awesome and roses and just milk and honey, as they say. There are definitely some challenges to being an entrepreneur, and I can start with a couple. And the reason why I think we want to do this video is because we want to share with our audiences that maybe are just getting started or maybe looking to become entrepreneurs, that there are some things to keep in mind when you're becoming an entrepreneur, and that it's not all like, well, this is going to be awesome, we're going to make tons of money and not do any work. I feel like being an entrepreneur, you probably do a lot more work than you would if you had a normal 9-to-5 job, because
way more.
And I can say as an entrepreneur myself, I've been doing this for a while now. It never turns off. When I had a real job, I was 9 to 5. I went to the office, I did my work, and then I went home, and I didn't have to worry about things over the weekend or at night. That was not a problem of mine. But now that I own my own company, I think about my business 24/7 if I'm not sleeping. So mine is 24 hours minus sleeping.
Hence as to why we're texting each other at the most random hours of the day and night when we have an idea for the show. Yep. That's one of those traits where, if I see a text message come in from you, I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense because my brain is in overtime too.
Yeah, so share, I think you have an interesting story about entrepreneurship, and you said that your grandparents were entrepreneurs, so do you want to share a little bit of your story?
Yeah. Absolutely. So entrepreneurship for me is something that's very important because my grandparents were entrepreneurs back in Chicago, and they owned Ace Hardware. And, before Ace Hardware even existed, it was another hardware store. I don't remember the name, but they owned a lot of those. And, that was really the foundation of my business education and sort of entrepreneurship journey, because that's what I was born into. That's all I've ever known, really. And so that's something that's really important to me as a person, and it's just something that takes a lot of different aspects to be. One of the most common things I hear from people is, oh, that's great, you get to set your own hours, you get to do whatever you want, you're the boss, this, that, and the other, and that's not necessarily the case. People that think like that are obviously not entrepreneurs and don't get it, because like you said before, you have to put in so much more work as an entrepreneur and encounter so many different obstacles to really become quote-unquote successful. But success is something that is objective, and I think that success really is not as much about money per se as it is being able to do something that you're really happy in doing. And I think that's why if you start any kind of business, you better be really freaking passionate about it, because there's going to be a lot of hurdles in your way, and if you're not obsessed with it, it's going to be really hard to overcome those hurdles.
That's very true, yes. That you have to find passion in what you do, and if it's something that you're not interested in, or it's going to really quickly fizzle out and your business is not going to exist because you just don't have the drive or motivation, because you don't have the passion to do that.
Right.
One of the things I want to talk about just briefly is mindsets about entrepreneurship. Is that one of the things that, and most of us have had jobs, and I know, Steven, I don't think you really had a job, a 9-to-5 job, because you've been an entrepreneur your whole entire life.
I've had them when I was younger, kind of.
Sure. So, but most of the people, like me included, and most of the people probably watching the show, probably 90% of us, all had a full-time job before we started our own business. And one of the mindsets that we have and that we bring to our entrepreneurship, and that I think is a common flaw, is that as a 9-to-5 person, we had a job, we were given tasks to do. We were given work, we got our paycheck at the end of the 2 weeks, and we went home, and again, we didn't have to worry about anything, and we kind of felt like this is the way that life is, and we brought a lot of that over to our entrepreneurship, but that's not really at all how entrepreneurship works, because when you had a 9-to-5 job, you had a person who started the business and had to take care of all of those things for you, and had to pay your payroll, and had to give you health insurance, and had to take all the risk up front in order for you to have a job. And so a lot of times we kind of bring that over to our entrepreneurship, but it's really not the way we can think about that. We need to think about, we need to be the ones taking the risk. We need to be the ones who are uncomfortable about doing all the things, that maybe are outside of our comfort zone. Like, in order to find clients, you might have to go out and network, or you have to go out and send cold emails, or do cold phone calls, and sometimes that is very disconcerting to people, and that's really outside of the comfort zone. What are your thoughts on that, Stephen?
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's a really good point that you bring up, the constant cold email. I think what's more important mindset-wise than even the work ethic involved in sending all those emails is the consistent flow of rejection that you're going to get,
another one, yeah.
Especially when first launching a business. I mean, it's just how can anybody possibly prepare themselves for the constant flow of rejection that you're going to get? And it's not about the rejection, it's about how many times can you get rejected and keep coming back and give it, your 100% on the 8th rejection or 80th rejection.
Or 800th
compared
rejection.
to when you get the first rejection. Exactly. I mean, it's true though. I mean, because that will continue to happen forever and always. And I think that's one thing that really separates us is people that know in your heart, kind of like what your vision is, how you want to execute it, and really being able to have that resilience to keep coming back until you really get sort of your vision carved out. Do it in a way where it's going to financially support you and emotionally support you, and like all these other things that are really important in life. Yeah. I think that's so important.
That's a big piece of it, is that a lot of times a good percentage of, so just to kind of give you some statistics, I believe that 80% of businesses fail in the first 5 years, and another 80 fail in the first 10 years, and then another 80 in the first 15 years. So I think by the time you get to the 10th year, it's like 96% of businesses have failed. So
right. So if you have a weak stomach, don't watch this part.
So if persistence is the key here. And it doesn't necessarily mean like you have to be persistent and like send a message on your LinkedIn to every person who's your connection, or to cold email everybody, until they're blue in the face. Like, no, persistence is like you have to be committed to your business. You have to take rejection to your face and keep on going. You have to have the motivation to continue, because then if you don't, then that's how businesses fail.
And that's a good point, because it's not even just the rejection too, it's also the success. I've seen a lot of businesses where they get a lot of success, or they get some big order, or they get some big contract, and then they flounder and really screw it up, and then they're out of business. And they get comfortable, right? Or they get comfortable, and then somebody else who's hungrier and works harder beats them, or they get a lot of cash and money, and then they don't spend it effectively, and then they're out of business a year from then. It's just, there's so many different things that can happen as you grow a quote-unquote successful company that you really need to watch out for, because while everything could be sunshine and rainbows today, there could be something very unexpected around the corner, and if you're not prepared for that, you're really screwed.
Yeah, and actually, speaking of preparation...
Not to leave things on a real positive note or anything.
Speaking of preparation, having a plan B and having a cash in your bank account for those rainy days is extremely important, because you, as a business owner, you can get through those dark months, when you might not have the revenue coming in, but only if you have some cash saved up to get you through those difficult months, and then recuperate
cash is
again.
King.
So it's extremely important to have everything that I've heard is that you have to have 6 months of operating costs for you to weather any storm. So in the event something happens, you have 6 months in a bank, and you can use that to still operate your business and keep the lights on, so that way you don't go out of business.
Right.
Any last
well,
thoughts?
Thank
Stephen?
you guys so much. Nope. That's it. Keep working.
Yeah, thanks everybody. And we look forward to your story too. If you have a story about your entrepreneurship or difficult
Please
things
post it
you
below.
have
Yeah.
experienced, positive things you've experienced, we love hearing from our audiences. So thank you very much. And as always, keep right on being an entrepreneur.
See you guys.
Thanks so much for watching. We hope you'll continue to get involved and join us as we help you find success in your entrepreneurial journey. Please follow, like, and share with others who will find this beneficial. We'll see you on the next episode of Marketing Success in Under 10 Minutes with Stephen and Jean.